I am continuing my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a little bit as I move along. Right now, in my previous video, I started reading chapter 14 in the first book of Samuel, and this is one of the greater victories of Saul early in his career. He's now, the Israelites have completely put the Philistines to rout. They've driven them all out of the area of Gibeah, just driven them out. Now, this was all done because Jonathan and his armor bearer went and they didn't really surprise attack him, but they went to the garrison and defeated the garrison, and it caused fear in the rest of the army of the Philistines. And watch that video to get all the details. But we are picking this up in chapter 14, verse 24. And the men of Israel were distressed that day, for Saul had adjured the people, saying, Cursed be the man that eateth any food until evening, that I may be avenged on my enemies. So none of the people tasted any food. And all they of the land came to a wood, and there was honey upon the ground. And when the people were come into the wood, behold, the honey dropped. But no man put his hand to his mouth, for the people feared the oath. But Jonathan heard not when his father charged the people with the oath. Wherefore he put forth the end of the rod that was in his hand, and dipped it in an honeycomb, and put his hand to his mouth, and his eyes were enlightened. I like that. His eyes were enlightened. He was refreshed. That's what this is talking about. It's not, he didn't just suddenly get great depth of understanding. No, he was tired, he ate, and he's now refreshed. He's more awake. His eyes are open. The people are all distressed because they haven't eaten all day. They're hungry, but because of Saul's oath, none of them dare to eat. Jonathan didn't know about the oath. Now we continue reading. Verse 28. Then answered one of the people and said, Thy father straitly charged the people with an oath, saying, Cursed be the man that eateth any food this day. And the people were faint. Then said Jonathan, My father hath troubled the land. See, I pray you, how mine eyes have been enlightened, because I tasted a little of this honey. How much more, if haply the people had eaten freely today of the spoil of their enemies, which they found? For had there not been now a much greater slaughter among the Philistines? And they smote the Philistines that day from Michmash to Aijalon, and the people were very faint. And the people flew upon the spoil, and took sheep and oxen and calves, and slew them on the ground, and the people did eat them with the blood. Now we got some issues here, too. I like Jonathan's reply, but the people don't, your father said don't eat anything. It's like, what? That's an idiotic. We're going to war. If we had all eaten before we went out to fight, we probably could have had a better victory. I know we won, but we probably could have, driven them out more, killed a few more of them. But the army was too weak to fight. And so he tells them, you go out there. You get your spoils. And they go out there, but they eat the meat raw because they're so hungry. It says they eat it. I did eat them with the blood. They ate it raw. Yeah. Verse 33. And they told Saul, saying, Behold, the people sin against the Lord, in that they eat with the blood. And he said, Ye have transgressed. Roll a great stone unto me this day. And Saul said, Disperse yourselves among the people, and say unto them, Bring me hither every man his ox, and every man his sheep, and slay them here and eat, and sin not against the Lord in eating with the blood. And all the people brought every man his ox with him that night, and slew them there. And Saul built an altar unto the Lord. The same was the first altar that he built unto the Lord. So the first altar that Saul built, remember, not all altars are for sacrifice. Many of them are for memorial. And this is the first altar that Saul builds as a memorial of this battle. But when he hears, Saul, he is still trying to be good. I think Saul is still trying to be faithful as much as possible. He has his faults, but he's not evil. He's not really wicked. He made his error making the sacrifice. But when he hears the people are eating this meat raw with the blood still in it, he says, no, Bring your stuff here. We've got this rock. We'll kill it. We'll drain the blood. We'll do it all properly. Don't go violating the law because you're hungry. And I like that. So, here we go, 36. And Saul said, let us go down after the Philistines by night and spoil them until the morning, until the morning light. And let us not leave a man of them. And they said, do whatsoever seemeth good unto thee. Then said the priest, let us draw near hither unto God. And Saul asked counsel of God, shall I go down after the Philistines? Wilt thou deliver them into the hand of Israel? But he answered him not that day. And Saul said, draw ye near hither, all the chief of the people, and know and see wherein this sin hath been this day. For as the Lord liveth, which saveth Israel, though it be in Jonathan my son, he shall surely die. But there was not a man among all the people that answered him. Then said he unto all Israel, be ye on one side, and I and Jonathan my son will be on the other side. And the people said unto Saul, do what seemeth good unto thee. Therefore Saul said unto the Lord God of Israel, give a perfect lot. And Saul and Jonathan were taken, but the people escaped. And Saul said, cast lots between me and Jonathan my son. And Jonathan was taken. Then Saul said to Jonathan, tell me what thou hast done. And Jonathan told him, and said, I did but taste a little honey with the end of the rod that was in my hand. And lo, I must die. So what's going on here is that Saul wants to chase down the Philistines and kill them. He wants to do a little bit more fighting. But he asked the priest, remember there was the priest with him, as I said earlier in the chapter, Ahiah, the son of Ahitub. So a great grandson of Eli. He asked the priest, should we go down? But he doesn't get an answer. And he figures that he's not getting an answer because of the people eating the animals with the blood. He's like, we violated the law. God's not going to answer us. We've got to find out who's guilty, who's responsible. And it comes down to Jonathan because they started eating the animals when Jonathan told them that they needed to start eating. Now, he didn't tell them to eat with the blood, but he did tell them to eat. And that's what started it. And it was a violation of the oath that Saul had made. Both things are true. They ate the blood and they violated the oath. Verse 44, and Saul answered, God do so, and more also, for thou shalt surely die, Jonathan. And the people said unto Saul, shall Jonathan die, who hath wrought this great salvation in Israel? God forbid. As the Lord liveth, there shall not one hair of his head fall to the ground, for he hath wrought with God this day. So the people rescued Jonathan, that he died not. Then Saul went up from following the Philistines, and the Philistines went to their own place. So the people wouldn't let him kill Jonathan. And Saul couldn't go against the people as a united people. I mean, he didn't want to create a civil war here between the people, so he let Jonathan live. But because the oath was violated, because the blood was eaten, he was not getting an answer from God. And so he just said, no, we're not going out to fight anymore because I don't know if God is with us. And I understand. I kind of agree with Saul on this one. He's not getting an answer. He doesn't want to risk his army. Now, Jonathan was resigned of dying because he kind of admitted he started it, even though he didn't tell him to eat the blood. He did kind of start it. He thought it was a silly oath to make, but he was willing to submit himself to the penalty, but the people rescued him, and so we just aren't going after the Philistines. Verse 47. So Saul took the kingdom over Israel, and fought against all his enemies on every side, against Moab, and against the children of Ammon, and against Edom, and against the kings of Zobah, and against the Philistines. And whithersoever he turned himself, he vexed them. And he gathered an host, and smote the Amalekites, and delivered Israel out of the hands of them that spoiled them. Now the sons of Saul were Jonathan, and Ashui, and Melchishua. And the names of his two daughters were these, the name of the firstborn Merib, and the name of the younger Michal. And the name of Saul's wife was Ahinoam, the daughter of Ahimaaz. And the name of the captain of his host was Abner, the son of Ner, Saul's uncle. And Kish was the father of Saul, and Ner, the father of Abner, was the son of Abiel. And there was sore war against the Philistines all the days of Saul. And when Saul saw any strong man or any valiant man, he took him unto him. So there's everybody he fights against, he wins. Now he doesn't conquer them; he vexes them. I like that term, because he's not going in and conquering them. He's not subjecting them to tributary. It's just if they try to attack Israel, he goes out there and he whomps them good and drives them back out. He won't let them oppress Israel. He's vexing them. He's keeping them at bay. We do also get some of his family here, this is nice. Ner and Kish are the sons of Abiel. I think it's Abiel. And so Abner is Saul's cousin. Abner is a prominent figure in later chapters, so remember him. Abner, he is the captain of the host, and Saul is the king. But this last verse, I think, is very important here. It says, when Saul saw any strong man or any valiant man, he took him unto him. Basically, this is the draft. He drafted anybody that he thought would be good at war. Good soldiers, strong, courageous men. He said, nope, you're in the army now. He drafted anybody that he thought would be a good soldier. But that is the end of this chapter, and we will pick up the story in chapter 15.